Let's talk about a role that is completely changing the game for how companies use data: the data product manager. Today, we're going to break down what it really means to treat data as a product. We're moving past just building pipelines and focusing on how to deliver real, lasting value. Let's jump in.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll dig into the big problem: why so many data projects just don't work out. Then, we'll get into the big mindset shift of thinking in data products, and I'll show you a powerful blueprint for building them. After that, we'll define the role of the person who leads the charge, and finally, wrap up with how you can actually win with data. All right, let's get right to the heart of the problem. For way too long, data teams have been caught in a loop that wastes a ton of time, money, and potential. We call this the data usability gap.
Sound familiar? On the left, you've got the old way. That dashboard someone asked for months ago? Yeah, it's broken now, and nobody even remembers what the metrics mean. It was just another ticket to close. But on the right, that's the data product way. It's a living, breathing tool that people actually trust and use because it delivers real value. The difference here isn't just about better tech. It's a whole new philosophy. And that right there is the data usability gap. It's that feeling when the data team is flat out busy, pumping out reports left and right, but the business isn't actually getting any smarter. This is usually caused by something called orphaned product syndrome. See, a data asset gets built, but then nothing. It has no owner, no plan for the future, and nobody's looking after it. It's just an orphan, left to become useless. So how do we fix this? Well, we need a complete shift in thinking. We've got to stop acting like a service desk for data requests and start running more like a factory that produces high-quality, totally reliable products.
You hear this all the time. This is the old way of thinking. It's all about the tasks. I got the request done, on to the next ticket. The job is just about managing the technical stuff, the pipelines, the tables. But honestly, that's just a recipe for creating more of those orphaned products we just talked about. And then there's this. This is the new mindset, and it is a total game changer. The focus flips from the how to the why. A data product manager owns the outcome. They're not just building a pipeline. They're solving a real business problem for a real person to help them make a real decision. The whole point is that ownership isn't about the technology, it's about the result. So what really makes a data asset a true product? It's got to be more than just a table in a database, right? It needs these 5 qualities. It has to be discoverable, so people can actually find it. Addressable, so other systems can tap into it. Trustworthy, so people actually believe the numbers. Secure, making sure the right people have the right access. And finally, self-describing, so a user knows what they're looking at without needing a translator. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually build these things? For that, we need a framework. So let's check out the RTCSE blueprint. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful way to turn a vague request into a data system that actually lasts and provides value.
The framework breaks down into 5 key parts: role, task, context, sources, and expected outcome. Just think of this as the master spec sheet for your data product. If you get this stuff right from the very beginning, you avoid so many headaches later on. Let's break down each one. First up is R for role. Your data product needs a clear identity, a specific expertise. It can't be everything to everyone. A successful product, like a customer churn predictor, has a super focused role. It's a strategic retention advisor. A failure? Creating a generic sales data table that tries to serve finance, who needs perfect numbers, and marketing, who needs big picture trends. It ends up being a jack of all trades and a master of none. Next, T is for task. Your data product needs a job to do. I mean, what specific action-oriented decision is it there to support? A great example is a product whose sole task is to identify accounts at high risk of non-renewal. That's specific and it drives action. The failure is that classic dashboard that just throws a bunch of charts at you about what already happened, but gives you zero help on what to do next. C stands for context, and this one is so often missed. Where is this thing going to live, and who's the actual user? You have to meet people where they are. A great product delivers insights right into the tools they already use every day. The classic fail is building an amazing, powerful database for a sales team that lives and breathes inside of Salesforce. If it's not in their workflow, guess what? They're not going to use it. Let's move to S for sources. What are the raw materials going into your product? And more importantly, can you trust them? You have to audit your sources. A solid product combines multiple trusted streams, like CRM data and usage logs. And the ultimate failure here, you've heard it a million times because it's true: garbage in, garbage out. You can have the fanciest AI model in the world, but if you train it on messy, incomplete data, its predictions are going to be worthless.
And finally, E for expected outcome. This is where the rubber meets the road. How do you define success in a way you can actually measure? This becomes your service level agreement, your SLA. A great outcome is an API that gives you churn scores with 90% accuracy refreshed every single morning. A failure? Delivering that same report, even if it's perfectly accurate, 3 days after the meeting it was for? At that point, its value is 0. So, who's the person that brings all this together? The one who orchestrates this whole process, from that first blueprint to making sure the product keeps delivering value year after year? That person is the data product manager. They're the architect of value.
To really get the role, it helps to see how it fits in with others on the team. A data analyst is asking, what does the data say? A data engineer is asking, how can we build this thing? But the data product manager is asking the biggest question of all. What problem are we solving, and who are we solving it for? They define the why and the what, acting as the bridge between the business and the tech teams.
So what does a data product manager do all day? Well, they're the ones who define the vision and the roadmap, giving the team their North Star. They're constantly driving alignment, acting as the translator between the business folks and the tech wizards. They prioritize what matters most, like making sure things are trustworthy and easy to use. And most importantly, they're obsessed with measuring the actual business impact, not just shipping cool tech. Okay, so we've got the mindset, we've got the framework, and we know the role. Now let's talk about putting it all together so we can actually win with data and finally escape that graveyard of dashboards we talked about at the start.
The first huge failure is what I call the one-off trap. This is when you treat a data request like a project that has a clear start and a clear end. The fix is to realize that data products are living things. They need a full lifecycle plan, from ongoing maintenance and upgrades to, just as importantly, a plan for when to eventually retire them.
The second trap, oh man, this one is a killer. It's choosing speed over trust. It's that temptation to rush out a cool new model without fixing the messy data underneath. And that's a massive mistake, because once your users lose trust in your data, it is incredibly hard to earn it back. The solution is to use data contracts, which are basically clear, upfront agreements on data quality and standards before anyone writes a single line of code. And all of this really boils down to a set of guiding principles. You could almost call it a manifesto for a great data product manager. You've got to treat your metrics like they're binding contracts. You should always design for reuse so you're not constantly reinventing the wheel. You need to document the business meaning, not just the technical stuff. And this one is critical. Always, always build trust before velocity. And finally, you have to close the feedback loop with your users. They are your customers, and their input is gold.
So I'll leave you with this question to take back to your own organization. Is your data team just a cost center, stuck in a loop of fulfilling tickets? Or is it an engine for real innovation, building trusted products that push the business forward? Making that leap, well, that's what data product management's all about. Thanks for tuning in.